Looksmaxxing permanently disfigured my face. Hi, I'm Joshua Allard. Today, I'm going to be explaining to you my Looksmaxxing journey. Yes, we're going to be going over how I made the changes to my face, how it's permanently disfigured, and my family can hardly stand to look at me anymore. That last part may not be true. Okay, let's start with a little blast to the past, everyone's favorite year 2020. Your boy, the most depressed, fat he's ever been in his entire life. I guess I turned 21 that year, and yeah, I was cooked. Pictures here. Oh wow, oh my gosh, it's hideous. I know. And so I started doing what any young man does whenever he's absolutely cooked. He starts looking up skincare routines on YouTube instead of, looking up maybe how to go on a diet, how to properly lose body fat, how to be healthy, maybe getting a gym membership. Your boy did just exactly the way most people do. It's gotta be my skincare. Maybe I need to do better at trimming my homeless looking beard. Maybe that's the thing that's gonna save the day. So yeah, I went down the rabbit hole of YouTube content back in the day, back in the 2020, back in the day of self-improvement, self-betterment content, and got stuck down the rabbit hole. It wasn't until I started literally starving myself that Christmas I weighed 70 pounds less, started at 240 pounds, down here 170. Funnily enough, it's where I am today. 170 can look very different depending on your body comp. But then I was just skinny fat. And so then I had to start from scratch. Got a gym membership, fell in love with the gym, got really involved in the gym culture, eating the Rice Krispies before every meal and every gym session, eating a stupid amount of carbs. Basically, a McRib and a ribeye in my mind were the same because they both had protein. Protein's great for you. It's how you build muscle. So yeah, you best believe even though my body was looking pretty nice, my face was still beyond cooked. That's how I went for the next about a year. And then my fellow gym bros started to see my progress and they were impressed. And so they started telling me, Josh, you gotta go do a bodybuilding show. And me thinking that back whenever I first started, getting a six-pack was only reserved for a special few people. Now I'm rocking a six-pack, so I'm feeling pretty confident. So I get a personal trainer and I start training. And then 3 months later, I compete in my first bodybuilding show. It's the only one I've done so far. And do pretty decent. Get second place in True Novice for the NPC back in 2022. So here's some photos. Wow, Josh, you look so aesthetic. Thanks. But guess what? Face was still cooked. Another photo. Oof. Yeah, it's not good. So guess what I had to do? On a bulk. And then I gained 40 pounds in the next 4 months. Bro's a freaking genius. Anyway, this went on for a long time. And I was bulking, cutting. You guys know the drill. Living the cooked life until I watched my first Looksmaxxing video. I'm pretty sure it was by Brett Maverick, the mewer himself. He literally introduced me to mewing. I had never heard of it in my entire life. So guess what I did? I started mewing that day. And I don't think I've stopped mewing. I just mew all day, every day now. I'm mewing while I'm pooping. I am always mewing now, ever since that video. And that was really the beginning of my Looksmaxxing journey because I didn't really understand that facial aesthetics were just as controllable as your body genetics, or rather, your physique. You can change that, so why couldn't you change your face? Everything started to click. The light came in and bathed me in hope. It was possible to have an aesthetic face, which I had never thought was possible for me. And then I started getting into some other different protocols, but it was about another year before I started getting into some other things where I tried the sauna protocol to boost my metabolism. So I accidentally started getting some brow ridge growth, which I think kind of looked cool, but at the same time, I was very afraid of devolving into a caveman and getting like the alien skull head. So I immediately stopped doing that. It wasn't until later that I discovered that it was good to like get more brow ridge growth. So I revisited it later, but that kind of inspired me to look a little bit more in depth into the Looksmaxxing space. Before it was really called Looksmaxxing, it was just called changing your face. And so kind of started diving into that. That's when I started to look at and see Baby Stickley. I know, I saw a Baby Stickley video about UUDD. So guys, I stopped doing that, to be fair. I started getting into that, and then kind of my whole feed was just full of Looksmaxxing. I was like, wow, there's so many different areas that my face sucks. I've got to start working on all of this. So I started doing it, and this leads us to fall of 2024, so less than a year ago. I'm visiting San Antonio. At the time, I worked as a personal trainer, kind of traveling, and I went to this gym in San Antonio. This girl approached me, and she was like, "Are you a model?" And I was like, wow. First of all, inside, I'm like super flattered, but you know, playing it cool. I'm like, no. She's like, okay, well, you should be a model. You should try. And I was like, okay. And then that inspired me. That inspired me to start posting on social media. That inspired me to start taking my looks a little bit more seriously, to really dial in on my diet, to really dial in on my training even, my cardio, stop skipping cardio, all these different things. That right there gave me a lot of hope that what I was doing was working and I needed to continue to do it, obviously. And so I lock in, and over the next month and a half-ish, I make some pretty decent progress. I lose a lot of body fat, and I'm looking pretty good, so I'm looking pretty decent. Guess what? Your boy has 160-something followers on Instagram. I've got 0 YouTube. I've got 0 TikTok. I don't even have it downloaded. Got 0 Snapchat. Got 0 pretty much everything. Your boy was deathly afraid of showing this face on the internet until October 20th, or sometime between October 20th and 25. I'll have to go back and see. I posted a Instagram reel of me being fat and then going from having a fat body to a six-pack. After that, I decided I was never gonna go a day without posting on Instagram. That's how it started. It kind of just grew from there. It's been a crazy journey. I've learned a lot between now and then. Thankfully, I've been able to elevate between now and then. You guys look back at some of the old videos, you'll see that I look a little bit different now. That's because I have really been focusing on the Looksmaxxing methods that actually work. So, as a reward for staying to the end of the video, here's the ones that actually work. 1, thumb pulling works. It does. I didn't do it for very long because of how good it worked, because my face got so long. I was like, okay, well, I gotta stop. So, funnily enough, these 3 things that work are also things that I want to caution you guys for doing, because you will disfigure your face. Like the title of the video is that I disfigured my face, Looksmaxxing, and that's true. Okay, I did. I don't want you to disfigure your face as well, because guess what? I started thumb pulling, and then my face looked weird because it was long and thin and narrow and just kind of looked like a horse, like a scary horse. And so, guess what I had to do? I had to start building up the masseters. So I started chewing the mastic gum, the jaw trainers, the jaw exercises. But then it was like this weird long and then wide at the bottom. And then I'm used to having a very diamond face shape. So I'm like, man, I gotta get the cheekbones popping. That leads me to the 3rd thing. Intraoral face pushing and zygo pushing. Those 2 coupled together have completely changed my cheekbones. You can say, you know, it's impossible, Josh. You're old. You're nearly 26. You're an old man. Your sutures. What about the sutures, Josh? I don't care about your sutures or mine, evidently, because I see incredible changes. It's very apparent that they in fact did move and change just due to those 2 things: intraoral face pushing and zygo pulling / pushing and masseter training. Those are things that I think anybody could do and see results doing over time, depending on if your sutures are as lenient as mine are. Guys, save yourself the trouble and be very smart and intentional with what you're doing. With that being said, that's gonna be how I jacked up my face and disfigured it for life. If you'd like to also if you'd like to not disfigure your face for life, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Get ready for another story time. Whatever we're going to be talking about next time, it's going to be a blast regardless. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging with me, and
I'm going to go eat some fish.